In this video, I am going to explain hot working processes. So, hot working refers to metal forming processes performed above the recrystallization temperature of the material, typically about 0.5 to 0.6 times the melting temperature in Kelvin. So at this temperature, metals can be plastically deformed without strain hardening because new grains continuously form to replace deformed ones. Now look at this diagram. Here this is the original size of the grain. Under this the pressure of these two rollers, the grains are elongated and the new crystals are formed. So this is happening at the recrystallization temperature. So the recrystallization temperature that is equal to, it usually lies between 0.3 times the melting temperature of that particular material or to 0.5 times the melting temperature of that material. In between this, you will consider as a recrystallization temperature. So main objectives of art working processes are improve the mechanical properties like toughness and ductility. So refine grain structure and produce the large deformation with lower required forces because of the high temperatures. Remove casting defects and porosity that is usually happening during the casting process. So these are the main objectives. So what are the main characteristics of hot working? The first characteristic is it takes place above recrystallization temperature and no significant strain hardening as recrystallization occurs simultaneously. So that requires less force compared to cold working, can produce complex shapes and poorer dimensional accuracy than cold working process. So oxidation and scaling may occur on the surface because of the high temperature. These are the few characteristics of hot working process. So common hot working processes are hot rolling, hot forging, hot extrusion, and hot drawing, hot spinning, hot piercing. So these are the hot working process usually performed. Now look at this one by one. First we will see the hot rolling. Okay. So during this hot rolling process, the slabs, the bloom slabs, these are the byproducts of blast furnace that will be forming through these rollers. So the direction of the feed is given in this direction. The sheet will form according to the thickness which is required. So this process is known as a hot rolling process. So now in this process, these are the sheets are formed and these plates with the different thicknesses are producing during this hot rolling process. You see that, look at these examples. Next, the second process is hot forging. Now look at this diagram. So whichever the workpiece we want to make the reshape, that will make it the temperature above the recrystallization temperature and keeping on the anvils, and you can apply the force either manually or power hammers are using to make the forging to make the reshape of that product. So in this process, these are the different components you can prepare using hot forging process. Next, the third one is hot extrusion. Now you can see that in this process, hot extrusion, the billets, the heated billet which is above the recrystallization temperatures are keeping here, and through this die at different size and shape of the dies are as per the requirement we can prepare, and we are applying the downward force here, and on the heated billet, because of this downward force, it will flow plastically through this die and it will come out through this process is called as a hot extrusion. So it will come out with a required size and shape as per the die. So now see that these are the different products we can produce during this hot extrusion process. Now look at this. These are the nowadays the famous the frames which are using to make the different structures. Like most of the prototypes, they can easy to prepare by using these structures of different sizes are available in the market. So these can be easily produced during this hot extrusion process. Next, hot drying. So now the hot drying, here also you can see that the die you can provide the required shape and size, and provided the material with a temperature above the recrystallization temperature, and through this ram workpiece will be forced through this die, and these whites will come out. This is called as hot drying. Most of the steel plants, they're producing the whites, rods, twisted rods, and different sizes of rod, 6 mm rod, 8 mm rod, 12 mm rod, plain rod, twisted rod. All these are producing using this hot drying process. You can see that these are the different whites. These are the products of most of the steel plants is making by using this hot drying process. Next, hot spinning. So hot spinning, here the rotation is happening, the product is rotating through this mandrel, so that you can apply the downward force, and this heated workpiece is rotated, and through this die, so as for the die shape, this spinning is happening. So different components you can produce like this. You can see that the different shapes you can easily produce during this operation. So this is known as hot spinning. Next is this is that another example of hot spinning, how we can so like the simple the lathe machine, we are mounting the chuck, and the job is rotating. The sheet metal is keeping here with the clamp and tailstock, and we are using the specified tools, and we are pressurize these tools in this manner, this shape will be formed. Next, art piercing. Okay, so now this art piercing heated workpiece, and through this force you can apply, and here that die. So through this die passes, what is the shape is there, that shape of that component will come out with that size and shape. Okay, using the pushing die. Okay. So this setup is called hot piercing. So through this die space, the product will come out. Okay, these are the small the products you can prepare using this hot piercing process. Next is this is also another example of hot piercing. Here like this you can prepare the hot piercing process.